Here we are.
Here we are.
All right.
Here we are.
Back at it.
Second to last one.
Of the season.
Podcast.
Second to last one of
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah.
Second to last pod of the season.
I said to Ike today.
Which we know, we haven't known that for many years.
Right. Yeah, I mean, 6 straight years, we didn't know when it was going to end. So,
Is it 6?
6 straight years in the playoffs, yeah.
Feels like more.
I said to Ike today, I was like, if we get Cooper Flag, I have to do the
7.
Ricky for another 10 years.
Yeah, it was 7. 7 years in the playoffs.
A 7.
So, yeah, that feels right. 7 disappointing straight years. And now
Didn't
this year,
quite
no
feel like
disappointment.
6.
It didn't quite feel like 6. I was like, I feel like I've been wounded more than that. Just slightly more. But we are close. We are closing in
it is.
on deep August.
The number 6 was in my head because the Spurs have now missed the playoffs for 6 consecutive years, which I looked up. Yeah,
There's quite a few.
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, for the, crown jewel franchise, as it were.
Truly.
Yeah.
6 years. Wow, that is a long time for them.
Yeah, it is.
How many years? We missed less than that. Fewer than
So
that.
we missed 6 was the most in a row we missed over the last 25 years, I believe.
Right, but I mean as far
Yeah.
as the
process.
the process Sixers missed the playoffs 5 years in a row.
Right.
Not all of which was officially the
process. Right. Wow, look, second YouTube comment. Who is the secret band? I'm afraid we can't tell you. Maybe we'll tell you at the lottery party.
Wow.
You should go to the lottery party. Maybe we'll reveal it at the lottery party.
Do you know how many tickets left? Or pod?
No, I haven't checked in with now. We had a few of the, because of like returns that I had to help people with because of the VIP thing. We had a few of the preferred balcony left, but now there's only one of those left. There were 5 left. So
One preferred balcony? Does
There's
one
one.
person want to sit by themselves on a balcony?
people do that at Ricky events. People go by themselves. People go on the trips by themselves.
Make some friends?
Yeah.
Meet a spouse?
Dude, I've started going to concerts by myself. It is glorious. Whenever you feel like leaving, you leave. It's like there's not the whole, are you good? Are you good after this song? Nah, it's just like whenever you go, you go.
Could also not go at all.
You could also not go at all, but I like going. It's just sometimes I'm just like, okay, I've had enough. I just want to leave. All right, let's go. I've had enough and I just want to leave. That should be the title of the book of this, about this podcast. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Sign up for Draftkings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS and is brought to you by Ethos Support.
Wow.
What? A new Ricky partner? That's right.
New one.
Make sure your business has customer service that doesn't suck with Ethos Support, ethosupport.com/Ricky. Bodybio, get 20% off anything at bodybio.com with promo code Norman. And Surfside iced tea and vodka, 100 calories, 3 grams of sugar, and no carbonation because iced tea should not have bubbles. On the show today, Sixers locked into the 5 spot in the tanking rankings as they beat the Wizards behind 30 from Jeff Dalton. How about it? Couple of different trade scenarios that people have written in about the lottery after we win it or we get in the second place or whatever. Couple of NBA coach firings. One we haven't talked about yet that happened a couple weeks ago, but then another one this week as Brian Malone is fired by the Nuggets. And just like a whole bunch of other shit on the podcast because we hardly talk about straight up basketball anymore. I mentioned Surfside iced tea and vodka. Woo, boy. It tastes good. I mean, that should be their slogan, I think. Woo, boy, it tastes good. It does. Plus all the other benefits, 3 grams of sugar, 100 calories, all the different varieties now. Man, we started with Stateside when they were just little old Stateside. Local distillery. We were the only advertising they do.
And now they're insulting Roberto Clemente's
They
family.
did not. I just want to be clear. That was the Pirates organization.
Very solid. though.
Surfside had no fucking idea.
That's good stuff, though.
I mean, could you imagine that meeting if they had like presented it to him that way? What we're going to do is we're going to pull down the Roberto Clemente number and just put your can right in place of it. Yeah, sign us up. Yeah. But Surfside's everywhere now because it's the best. People ask me why they blew up so much. Two reasons to me. One, tastes awesome. Two, the can is pretty dope. You can get it wherever you get your booze. In PA now, grocery stores now too, gas stations, wherever you get your canned cocktails. Got to be 21. And if you can't find it anywhere, just go to statesidevodka.com. And by the way, thank you to everybody who supported the slumber party thing I did with St. Hubert's last weekend. The event raised $75,000 for St. Hubert's. I raised $17,200. And Camilla, who is the dog I stayed with in her kennel, still available for adoption. She's like 2-3 years old from Alabama, very sweet dog. I guarantee she's a sweet dog. She seemed good around other dogs as well. She's available at St. Hubert's. I paid, so her adoption fee is now sponsored. She goes home with a big barker as well. So please adopt Camilla. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is, oh man, I was going to screw it up. I was going to say the Sixers are number 5 in the lottery order, and this guy's number 5 in your heart. That is one Mike Levin.
Number 5.
In your heart.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't even know what that means.
It seems like people would then like me a lot, but not quite as much as 4 other people, I think.
Right. But if there's 100 people, that seems
that's
like
pretty good. All right, I'll take 5.
How many billions of people are on the planet?
Sixers with a nice win tonight. I needed it, dude.
It was
I needed
good to
it.
have a win.
I wanted it. I wanted this win.
Yep. I agree.
They would have to win out, and the Nets would have to lose out for it to be tied. So I feel, famous last words, comfortable in the 5 spot in the lottery.
Yep.
I just felt like the guys needed a win.
Yes.
Needed a win. A lot of disappointed looks. The guys were playing loose. They hit some shots. They attacked the offensive glass. Lonnie Walker shoved somebody. That was fun.
Yes. Sixers broadcast defended him the entire time. They always, Allah said, they never catch the guy who does it first. It's always the retaliation guy, is what he said. So
yeah, I mean, it's a pretty clear shove.
She did shove him.
Pretty clear two-handed intentional shove.
Jeff Dalton. Do you know what I thought about Lonnie Walker this week? Can I give you a little thought about Lonnie Walker? Doesn't matter. He is proof about how hard it is to play in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
How good you have to be.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Dalton as well, I think, is also that kind of proof.
Here's like Lonnie Walker, 16th pick in the NFL draft. Good at
NFL.
Good enough at a bunch of things. Skilled basketball player. Can't stick around in the NBA. Like, you watch him and you're like, how can't this guy stick around the NBA? He's at least good enough at some things. And like, if you saw him somewhere just playing basketball, he would probably be the best basketball player you ever saw at a gym or something like that. I don't know. We know it. I'm just watching him. I'm like, I can't believe this guy can't. Not that I think he's great or anything. It's just proof of how hard it is to get to be in the NBA.
You really got to do other stuff.
Yes.
You got to do other stuff other than score. Yes. And if the only thing you do is score,
you better be real good at it.
You better be like Anthony Edwards, man.
Yeah.
You can't be anybody else.
Yep.
Lonnie Walker had a nice game, 24 points, almost no other stats. Good for him. Just getting his buckets up. But yeah, Jeff Dalton gets career high 30 points. That was exciting. He gets hot.
Sure.
The bench is excited for him. People like him in the locker room. It's, he's on a 2-way. He's been here seemingly forever. He's trying to get that next contract. He's ineligible for 2 ways after this season. He hasn't played in a couple weeks because he was like out of 2-way days. I feel like he's not going to get that contract, which is sad. But he's a hell of a player. He's too good for the G League. He's such a quad A player. But he got hot. 30 points on 15 shots.
Sure, I felt good for him. He seems like a good guy.
He definitely does.
And
another nice game from Adem Bona. He's just really good. He's had a good run of things. Did you see that on the broadcast? Kate was talking about that he is leading the league in blocks per game in the last month or so.
I did not see that. Oh, that is incredible.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I do think
he's getting this part of the year has been very good for him to just get fucking minutes.
Need minutes. And also I would say that having a point guard out there in Jared Butler that is willing to throw those lobs to him just makes everything easier.
He seems like he loves trying to catch lobs too.
Absolutely. I mean, that two-handed dunk over Keyshawn George, where George was looking like he was about to take a charge or attempt a charge, and then Bona comes in, leaping off 2 feet, and he just starts sort of fading away from it. If there was a bush that he could have walked backwards into, he would have Homer Simpsoned into that bush. Incredible dunk. I love Bona trying to dunk everything, and I think obviously he's got to get stronger. Obviously he's got to get more balance. He tries a corner 3 on the night, which looked pretty good, didn't go in. The free throw form has always looked good to me. I think there's no reason why as he gets older he shouldn't be in the low 70s as a big, which is totally fine. And yeah, he hustles, he plays hard. I would be in a world where Joel is just magically healthy. I would be perfectly comfortable with Adem Bona being the backup center for the foreseeable future. And they have him on a rookie deal in the second round pick. So that's another nice win and another nice grab for Daryl. It's really the kind of my theory. I mean, I was starting to look at centers in the early part of the draft if the Sixers pick conveys, considering what about Malawach, what about Derek Queen, what about Asa Newell in the top few. But I've really had the perspective for many years now that unless they are special, you can get a completely fine backup center or rotation center in the second round. And Bona is, another example of that. So I'm happy that he's gotten those minutes, and this is what this kind of season is all about. A little summer league basketball all year round.
Get something good out of it. You mentioned Daryl. This is sort of a non sequitur, I guess. We got an email from Steve that the subject line was accountability. We've gotten many emails like this year, but there was one thing in this email because the Bona thing reminded me. There's one word in this email that specifically that drives me a little bit crazy. Okay. He says, "Hey, Spike, Mike, and CJ, I, like you guys, agree that for the most part last offseason, Daryl made the moves I would have made if I were him. But does that really make those moves impervious to criticism? How things work out matters if you're a GM, and he, the team's GM, should be better at being a GM than us. He should have more forethought, more creativity, and most of all, more information than we do. So to shrug and say we would have done the same doesn't really feel right to me to evaluate someone in his position. Do you think the Sixers owners will hold him to a higher standard?" So the word in there was creativity.
Yeah.
There is something creative he could have done to magically make some other player appear. Here's what this season comes down to. If you wanted to move forward with Joel, you had to extend him and to get Paul George. If you didn't want to go get Paul George and didn't want to extend Embiid, then you probably should just trade him. But there were plenty of creative, I think you could say. Yabusele, everybody creative. Drafted Jared McCain, hit. Tore his fucking knee. Got Adem Bona in the second round. Got Justin Edwards as an undrafted free agent. I just
Quentin Grimes at the deadline. I would add.
Quentin Grimes. I guess I'm just sort of lost in. You could 100% say they shouldn't have doubled down on Embiid.
Yeah,
but every other criticism after that to me is just frustration that the season ended the way that it did.
Yeah, that's kind of
Right?
why I look at. I do think that there were, as we've said all season, there's a number of things you can be excited about. A number of things of like the second tier level moves, the moves along the fringes. Not all of them. Eric Gordon was mostly horrendous, except for that one like month and a half that he couldn't miss. Andre Drummond, people wanted him. People were bummed at when he was traded in the Ben Harden trade. He comes back. He looks extremely washed. He's out with a busted toe. He pretty much has been sitting for the last few months. There's a handful. Lowry looked old as shit. Reggie Jackson was here because he's Paul George's friend, whatever. The problem with me not blaming Daryl as much, or the front office generally as much, is yes, I would have done almost all of those moves. And so I just feel a little bit like a fraud criticizing them. When I didn't like the Okafor move, the pick, it was easy to criticize that because I was like,
Sure.
It will not work. It's not working. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It ruined everything pretty much. The same thing would be, anytime it's easier to be like, oh, I didn't agree with this at the time and I don't agree with it now. I feel a little bit like a fraud if I were to say, obviously this thing didn't work, when there is video of me saying the opposite at the time. So I don't want to just act like I know everything, because I was wrong as well. I think the fault of the season lies almost entirely at Joel Embiid and Joel Embiid's health.
Sure.
And Paul George missed a lot of shots. He was I didn't like the shot selection. He was also in and out of the lineup for a lot of it. I didn't love a lot of times the intensity which he played at. That's sort of the book on Paul for his whole career, of just sort of like, he's a steady ship, which is good a lot of the time, and frustrating when you're like, I need that ship to go a little faster, my guy. And he's steady as she goes. But I think if Embiid was fully healthy, that
He'd
Paul
be
George
acceptable.
would have been fine.
And
It would have
you
been
know what?
perfectly fine.
Even if McCain doesn't tear his knee and all the other stuff happens, we're still watching McCain and Maxey, and all of a sudden we feel like maybe there's something there. But McCain fucking having it I don't know. I feel like on one hand I feel like I'm making excuses, but on the other hand I'm like, I don't know. He wasn't healthy. Embiid wasn't healthy, and everything else goes from there. And as many games as they could be better that they could have been, I don't know. I like, to what end?
So so it's that contract.
Yeah.
It's the contract in tandem with Paul George signing here, like you said, which was the cap space plan generally, which is the cap space plan is, hey, we're going to get this older guy to come sign here, and we're going to then like restrict ourselves to whatever we can't do. It's the idea of, is Paul George the kind of, does he have the motor of someone that you want to pair with someone like Joel, who already has occasional intensity, let's say varying levels of high motor.
Right.
When he's on, and when he's off, it sort of poisons the well for the rest of the team.
Well, and the other part of it is, if not him, then who? And I know
always
that,
we've done this a million times.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
But that to me is where you go, okay, so if Yabusele worked out, obviously Maxey had a bad start to the season. Yabusele works out. Oubre was perfectly fine, although he wasn't hitting outside shots. Justin Edwards was a nice little pickup. Bono was a nice little pickup. McCain until he got hurt. Grimes when he got him. Like, all that together. Yes, Joel is the, planet, the sun around which everything else orbits. But what I said all year round is like, it is a factor that, for me, in evaluating Nick Nurse as a coach, that they were as bad as they were.
Right. Yes.
I think Joel's health is most of it, but Nick not finding a way Nick's lack of creativity on the year, when it mattered, at the times when it still mattered, was a bigger deal for me than Daryl's, because again, it all worked out this offseason until it started
It didn't. Yeah.
not working out.
Yeah. If you want to, if your position was we should move on from Embiid,
Yeah.
I get it.
Then that position would have probably been right. No, if you
Yes.
could go backwards, you could go, hey, you shouldn't have moved on from Embiid. You shouldn't have signed Paul George. You should have said after the Knicks series, hey, this isn't going to work. It's over. Maxi's a building block. Let's see if we can trade Embiid for whatever. What's the best offer we can get, and start a semi-rebuild. Like,
Yes.
where you don't get Paul George and you trade Embiid for, I don't even know. I haven't considered what you could have gotten for him at that time.
Right.
Something. But that's that is the path. Every other path is kind of like, this season was, I don't know who you get instead of Paul George that makes the season turn around. Brandon Ingram's been out for the whole year pretty much.
Right. Yeah. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Ethos Support. Welcome, Ethos. New sponsor of the Ricky. ethosupport.com/Ricky. That's right. Got another friggin' business to put a little site with just us on it. Or you can call it, I want, if you're listening to the pod, I want Blair, who helps run Ethos Support, who's giving his direct cell number out. You can text him. You don't have to call him. Don't blow up his phone from call, but let him know you're alive. 240-593-2485. Here's what Ethos Support is. So
Are
if
those
you
blazers over a Sixers jersey and a Ricky shirt?
Yes. Well, I guess that's his wife.
I'm saying like he's wearing a blazer.
No, he wasn't wearing a blazer. I think
that's
he's
just a
wearing like a
jacket.
jacket.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were
Yeah.
both in like
jacket.
business blazers.
Yes,
Which I
yes,
thought would have been an interesting look.
Yes. So what is Ethos Support? So if you're a business owner, and I was going to say if you're a business owner, but also if you just work at a business, because the first person to hook us up with Mortgage CS doesn't run Mortgage CS. It wasn't Alec or Ben. It was just this guy, Ethan, who listened to the pod, who was like, I think this would be good. So I want to talk to you about customer support. And we've all been through it because I want to talk to you about it like as a customer. Sometimes you call a place and you have to press 6 different buttons just to get to a human. And you get to the human and then they click off of you accidentally, or they don't know what you're talking about, or they can't understand you and you can't understand them. Or you go on the website and you do some chatbot and then you realize all the chatbot does is take you to the FAQ of the page, and it sucks. It's horrible. And it makes people like your business less. I remember when I was in a band, I got told this. We had a bad drummer. Shout out, Steve. And a guy in a band told me, if you have a bad singer in your band, people will say you have a bad singer. If you have a bad drummer in your band, people will say you have a bad band. And it's like that with customer support to me, is that like every good customer support experience I've had online, when I've ordered something wrong or something wasn't delivered properly and they just fixed it easily and I could get in touch with them, I love that company forever. And then when I can't get in touch with anybody, I like hate that company forever. It's not worth it. So what Ethos Support does is they put together, they outsource customer support for your company that doesn't suck. Support that can answer your customers' questions. If you want it to be 24/7, they can do that. It is custom for your business. People that are onboarded the right way, who know the answers. No matter how big or how small your business is, they will put together a solution. And it's not just phone, chat support, email support, social media support. They will work with you to find the right people, and then they manage them for you, and all you do is pay for it. It's amazing. There's no long-term contracts with Ethos Support. If you're not happy, you just walk away. They can put together the team for you in as little as 2 weeks, and it makes a huge difference. Again, if you have good customer support online, on phone, people will like your business. So if your business needs this, I wouldn't ignore this. It's important. It's front-facing for your business. Go to ethosupport.com/Ricky. You can fill out the form and learn more, or you can call or text Blair at 240-593-2485. Call him or text him at 240-593-2485. Ethos Support, the new partner of the Ricky.
Exciting.
It is very
exciting.
exciting.
We need a little ethos going into the draft lottery.
Yes.
Good to have some ethos on our side.
Blair has wanted Ethos to be a Ricky partner for almost 2 years now.
It's exciting.
Kept chasing. That is the kind of customer service guy you want. The Sixers are locked into the 5 spot. So
Not officially. They could still tie.
Well, if they win their next 2 games and the Nets lose their next 2 games.
3. Yeah. Let's not look.
Sixers only play 2 games.
And the Nets have 3.
Would have to lose 3. Yeah.
Look, I don't know.
All right.
I'm not counting on it. I've been wanting this pick for longer than anybody else.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So I'm going to make sure we do our due diligence and
Okay.
get this goddamn pick.
We can't get to 4, unfortunately.
Can't get to 4
anymore. Yeah. Anything else? You don't have anything else on this game, do you?
Well, I mean, it was a really bad Quentin Grimes first half. He just kept missing.
Yeah.
And he's been obviously had a ton of great games on this team. And I thought it was, you take what you can take out of these things. They're playing the fucking Wizards. It is what it is. The threes weren't going down. That happens for shooters, whatever. He started forcing a little bit. Fine. But I like that he was contributing the game in other ways. He has a hot third quarter. He ends up finishing with 11 rebounds and 6 assists. He's still all over the place. I just really like the full package there. And I will be very upset if he just walks because Brooklyn gives him money because they have no one else to give it to. That would really bum me out. If we don't get a chance to at least I believe in it. I believed in it since his 2 years at Houston. But I would be really I understand I see the validity in going like, hey, I can't trust anything about the end of the season as they lose 12 games in a row, whatever, and beat the Wizards. I don't care. I understand that. I think there's still stuff to take out of it, but I understand why that would be a concern. I would be really bummed if we don't even get a chance to see it. If we don't even get a chance to see what Grimes looks like in the role that Caleb Martin should have had this season or had for a couple games before he was hurt, a shoulder thing, whatever. Just having that guy in between Maxey, George Embiid, whoever, McCain, if he's there, like it would just be nice to see, because I do think he is like the kind of KCP type player that good teams have, and to have him at his age and two-way ability on like a fair deal because they have restricted free agent rights on him would be really, really nice. I would like it to happen.
I don't think the big contract is out there for him. I think the question is, can they fit him in there with a normal contract?
Yeah.
But my gut tells me he will end up on the Sixers for some 3 or 4 year contract.
That sounds great. I hope not. It's a bummer. Who do you think likes the new CBA? Like, everyone is so scared of that apron, the second apron. Who do you think? Like, why do the players agree to it? Obviously, but do you think the owners regret agreeing to it? Like, it seems like everyone is scared to pay. It seems like the agents probably hate it. Like,
well, it's not pay. It's not like they're not afraid of the second apron from a financial perspective.
Right.
Some are,
well,
but most are afraid of it because of a can't make moves perspective.
Yeah.
And I think what they're attempting to do is to not have like the fucking Dodgers in baseball, somebody with unlimited money. Like, I guess I don't know. I agree with you. I don't even want to say that.
I'm just asking who likes it at this point.
Who likes it? Yeah. What is the advantage? How is this helping the league?
Yeah.
In any way? I would generally agree with you.
It just seems like, I don't know, if I'm running the league, I wouldn't want every trade deadline and every offseason for the burning question to be, hey, who is going to trade a future first round pick or a couple seconds to get off of this contract of a pretty good player? Like, that just seems like counterintuitive. Like, you want to curb tanking? We should also try to curb like trading away good players for nothing, or trading away good players with picks for nothing. That to me is like, if you're worried about the fans, like,
sure,
I don't know. It just seems kind of embarrassing for it to be like part of the league, because I do think that the CBA is for no one and just unnecessarily has people.
Well, this part of the CBA for sure. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Should we talk about? You want to talk about Michael Malone getting fired?
Yeah. So I was actually going to bring that up. Actually, first lottery party before we get to Mike Malone.
Lottery party.
How
many tickets are left?
I don't know exact. It's still less than 100. We had for a moment. There were 5. There's 3 tickets. There was VIP. There was preferred balcony, which is like the first row. You get a stool up on the balcony, and then the regular GA. We had like 5 preferred balcony tickets go back up this week, but there's 4 of them are gone. There's only 1 ticket. So it's just GA, and it's less than 100 tickets. So, and Mike told me, we're going to sell that fucker out. And I said, no, actually, we're not. And he said, yes, we are. And I said, no, we're not. So if you want to prove Mike right, you will buy a lottery party ticket. If you want to prove me right, you will not. You will abstain.
I'm going, whatever happens, I melt down.
Right. If we get a great pick, you melt down.
Yeah,
If
I
you
fall to
don't
my
get
knees if we
Right.
get the pick.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is lottery party and then live Ricky 6 featuring Gershon Yabusele. The doors open at 6 and the everybody hangs out for a while. That's always been a part of the lottery party. But then
you want to get a couple drinks in you probably before
get a couple drinks in you.
The possibly the last stand of the process happens.
Right. Yes. And then the lottery explainer with Professor Jack and Mike. And then we have the lottery at 8 and then live Ricky 6. And I remind you, the ticket sales benefit Providence Animal Center, Mama T's Community Fridge. We will have a great show for you regardless whether they get the pick or they don't get the pick.
One of the shows will be better.
Yeah. It's going to be dark if they don't get the pick, but it'll be something that you will always have. And CJ, we are videotaping it like we did in Live Ricky 5. We have Truefold Media coming out and videoing it as well. So we will have to release it online.
Also,
so,
I guess I wouldn't rule out the idea of if you happen to be a fan of a different team, like the Celtics or the Knicks or something, but
Watching
you live
us.
in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
or you don't, and you just want to come for this,
Yeah.
and you want to root against the Sixers in the lottery.
Yes.
I guess I would have to respect that if you
Yes.
came to the lottery party and rooted against the Sixers, rooted for them to fall to 7. That would be
Sure.
some real sick fuck behavior, but I would respect it.
Yeah. Well, it's not sick fuck behavior when they listen to the fucking pod constantly.
That's true.
They do. Other fans of other teams. So live Ricky 6 and the lottery party is happening May 12th. And
I just booked my flight today.
oh, shit. There you go. May 12th at I said Franklin Music Hall. Franklin Music Hall. And if you want tickets, Franklin Music Hall used to be Electric Factory. If you want tickets, we will put the link in the show notes here. You can go to RiceRickySanchez.com or just go to AXS.com and search Rice Ricky Sanchez. The Rice Ricky Sanchez podcast presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Mike, good news. UFC 314 is heading to South Beach.
Okay. I'll see you there.
Don't miss any of the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. Okay, I'm going to throw some of these matches at you for UFC 314. Norna Cornell versus Haley Cowan. Norna Cornell minus 180 favorite.
There's no way that Cornhole loses.
Yeah.
Cornhole automatic.
There you go. How about this one? This guy's just got one name. Sumu Dereji is a minus 180 favorite over Mitch Raposo at plus 150.
Give me Mitch.
Yeah, there we go. Now, here is a fucking... this second guy sounds like a 2K creative player.
Okay.
Jim Miller
Yeah.
versus Chase Hooper.
Former Bears quarterback. That's exciting for him. That he
And
found
Chase
a
Hooper is
second.
a minus 850 favorite over Jim Miller at plus 575.
Okay. And this is the tables, ladders, and chairs match?
No, that's wrestling. This is UFC.
Okay.
Yep.
Special guest referee, Mr. Fuji?
No, that's
Something like
also WW. That's
Okay,
WWF.
interesting. All right. Well, then I'm gonna go with a draw.
Okay.
I think draw.
Can you bet a draw? Well, you can bet everything at DraftKings Sportsbook, your official sports betting partner of the UFC. Look, if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. Even if you don't want to bet UFC, bet any of the other leagues. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Step into the octagon with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code RTRS. That is code RTRS for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details. When I saw this week was UFC for DraftKings, I got very excited. All right, so two big firings. We never talked about the Taylor Jenkins firing.
Yeah.
Memphis Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins about 2 weeks ago. And then in I think a pretty big shocker to everyone, the Denver Nuggets fire Brian Malone, and they fire their...
Michael Malone.
Michael Malone, yes. Who's Brian Malone? I don't know. Michael Malone and their general manager, what's his name?
Calvin Booth.
Calvin Booth, right. People are like, should we fire Nick Nurse and get one of these guys? I don't know. Michael Malone seems like a dickhead. Like every press conference, he seems insufferable.
Seems like a real dickhead. And by the way, Mike and Michael, it doesn't fucking matter, dude.
Oh yeah, he likes Michael, right?
He likes Michael. He yelled at reporters for calling him Mike. And I gotta say, as a Mike or a Michael, whatever, it doesn't fucking matter.
Grow
Which
up,
do I prefer?
you pussy. Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Oh, my mom called me this. My mommy called me Michael, so you have to call me Michael. It's like, now you're fired. We call you whatever the fuck we want. Okay, Mike? Okay, Mikey? Ridiculous. I thought that was so stupid. And especially because it was my name. I was like, fuck you, dude.
Personally offended
Yeah,
by
just
it.
like grow up, dude. Your
Bad
name's
look
Mike.
for all Michaels.
It's a regular name. We're not calling you like Mick. Like some random shit. It's like the normal thing. Don't be upset.
Just such a weird time to fire a coach.
That's the issue. I do think he's a good coach,
so
even if he's
weird.
insufferable. It's like it's crazy to be like, hey, 5 days before the playoffs start, we are going to fire the coach and GM. I guess I respect the idea of like, hey, the best time to do it was yesterday, and the second best time to do it is now. But like, are you sure now? If you really were this close, shouldn't you have done it like, I don't know, 2 months ago or something, or before the season, or just been like, all right, it's too late now. Let's see how the season goes. Wait till the off season. I don't know. Seems wild. The Grizzlies one is interesting because I hadn't realized this until I read, I think it was a Ramona Shelburne article on ESPN that I just missed it this offseason, that front office had made Taylor Jenkins fire 5 of his assistant coaches.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
This offseason. And replace them with other ones. And that just sends such a message to your players that like you're on thin ice.
Yes.
You're like, how committed are you to this? And so it's like a little bit that half measure of why would you fire all the assistant coaches and not just go like, okay, we're going to fire the coach also.
Well, it's like bringing Brian Daboll and Joe Shane back for this year. You're like, oh, you know they're probably going to get fired. Like if you're on that team, it's a weird thing to have that big of a non-vote of confidence. Now,
especially
Nick Sirianni won the Super Bowl after
That's
it
true.
happened.
That's true. I think in basketball rather than football, just because there's so many games. The amount of games that you're having to be like, check in, check out. I think also the culture around football is so much more like militaristic, where you're just like, we're going to go out there and we're going to fucking run our heads off and we'll like sacrifice our limbs to God if we have to. Like in basketball, you're a little bit like, you got 82 of these. It's all right.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't need to go too hard, that kind of deal. So I think it's especially bad in basketball if you know you're going to fire your coach and then have them go through this like long season. But yeah, I mean, the Western playoffs is going to be very interesting. I wonder what this says, to me, as far as the MVP race goes. There's not a chance in hell that you can give Jokic the MVP when his coach got fired a week before the season ended.
Yeah, I'm going to look on DraftKings. I don't know what the SGA odds are, but I would bet them now.
There's just like, that would seem crazy to do that. It's
Can I tell you what I asked Sharp? And in fairness, I've asked him, Andrew Sharp does a regular NBA pod. When Michael Malone and Calvin Booth got fired, I said, do you think maybe they were having an affair?
Ooh.
And he said, why do you always ask me stuff like this? And I said, because one time it's going to be true and it'll be the wildest story that's ever happened.
Totally.
Now, they didn't like each other, but that doesn't mean they can't be having an affair.
Could happen.
Could have been having an affair.
For sure.
So
yeah, I would love to know that. If that's the case, or if anything like that, hit us up.
Yeah,
it's RickySanchez@gmail.com.
If you have
any tips about that. No, it's weird. It's so weird to do it right before the playoffs start, and it's weird because he just won a championship a year and a half ago. It happens very fast, and you kind of go. I remember thinking, did I say this on the podcast, or did I say this to a friend of mine? I remember thinking over the last maybe a couple years ago, man, it sucks that NBA teams aren't dumb anymore.
Yes, there's way fewer dumb teams.
And it has felt like we're back to that. They are. They are.
The
They definitely
Suns
are.
going and trading for Bradley Beal and letting him keep his no trade clause.
Yeah, like
feels
that
kinda
was
dumb.
the situation. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean the Luka trade, obviously. I mean, how dumb am I fucking watching Sixers Wizards instead of Luka's return to Dallas against the Lakers happening at the same time?
Yeah.
What a life decision that has led us here. You watching basketball tonight? Yeah. Oh, you're probably watching that game. Nope.
Yep.
Sixers Wiz. We got 28 minutes of Colin Castleton I got to check out.
Nice putback dunk from him tonight.
Oh,
By the
yeah,
way,
and
he looks
does
like a
things.
Florida big man, that guy.
He absolutely does.
He fucking
described.
reeks of it. Yeah.
I'm very bummed about that Florida-Houston game. It really makes me very deeply sad.
Can I ask you a couple listener questions about the lottery that
Hit
I
it.
thought were good? So, this one I stole from Reddit, actually, but I thought it was a good question. So, Dylan Harper is just like a guard, right? Regular guard guy. And you think he is clearly the second best pick in the draft, right?
Yes.
What if the Sixers get number 2? Like, they clearly already have 2 young guards. So what do they do?
I think you see what's out there for any of them. You listen on everything.
Okay.
I think the Sixers, and we should do this like in earnest, in full, once the season is over, and then we'll do it again once the lottery has happened. But there's so many options, more than any other team. The Sixers have so many options. Obviously, the pick could not convey, and then you just shove your thumb up your ass and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
But the what they could do with it, what they could trade down for, if they get 1 or 2, the picks are made for them. You have to take those picks.
Yeah.
If you get 3 to 6, you could trade down. Is it interesting to go, okay, we'll trade, this is just randomly, we'll trade 5 and Paul George for 9 and
Some
whatever.
2 guys.
I was looking at something earlier, like, DeAndre Ayton would be an expiring contract that you could get for. I know, like this is the option. It's not gonna be exciting shit. It'd be Ayton and Matisse, and for Paul George, and like flipping those picks, depending on what they are. Not great options. Julius Randle is also on that list of options if you send to Minnesota for Paul George. But the interesting thing of like, how much do you value fit? How much do you consider Joel Embiid in who you pick in this draft, whether you're 2 through 6? But I think if you land on 2, if they like him, which I assume that they would, I think he's a Darryl kind of player. He's Harden-ish. He can get inside. He can finish at the rim. He can elevate. He can shoot. He's a really, really good passer, and he has the body of someone that will be able to really defend. More than Harden, potentially. So I think either of Maxey or McCain would fit really nicely with Dylan Harper as guys that could both handle the ball some themselves and also
one of them.
fly around screens. Yeah.
Right.
And you wouldn't have to trade one of them. You could easily keep McCain off the bench as a microwave scorer type thing, and figure it out. And Harper is big enough to sometimes defend up a little bit more than just guards. But I think at some point, if you have all 3 of them, you would start to look around and go, okay, we could really use a 4 that could help athletically with Joel, getting rebounds, defending bigger guys.
Or even without Joel.
Even without Joel.
Even if you're building a team, you could use a wing guy or a 4 guy or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think then you start to look at Maxey or McCain, moving them, one of them. But I don't love either of it, I like both of those guys. But I think Dylan Harper potentially is good enough. That's the question is you go Maxey, McCain, both very, very good players, all-stars / all-star potential. And I do think that they will be able to, if the team is right around them, I do think that they will be able to play next to each other on a good team. You have to account for their lack of size, but I don't think that. I think the strides Maxey has taken on defense and the strides I anticipate McCain to take will not make it embarrassing to play both of those at the same time on the defensive end.
Okay.
You have to just factor it in. But I don't think, if we're being honest with ourselves, that either of those guys is ever going to be a top 15 player in the league and able to be the best player on a team that finishes top 4 seed in the conference. If you have faith in Joel coming back, then that's a different question. But I do think that the Joel conversation, is he there? Are we assuming he's in? Are we assuming he can play 40, 50, whatever games a year? Hard to assume that. And then, so then who becomes our franchise cornerstone? Who's the number one guy? And so I'm not shying away from taking Dylan Harper because we have two good to great guards that are still far away from being the number one type.
Yeah, that's fair. So I have another one for you after we talk about our friends at Bodybio.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to tell you, if you go to bodybio.com, there's a secret, because we don't write it down anywhere. But if you use code Norman, you get 20% off anything in the store. Bodybio, we've talked about so many different Bodybio products. They've been around for a long time. By the way, I don't know if you've been to the website in a bit, Mike. All new like graphics and shit. Website
really?
looking clean as shit.
I'm on a
the
monthly
subscription
subscription situation.
Butyrate, right? You're still Butyrate guy.
Butyrate, I got plenty of Butyrate and my Elite.
Elite,
for
there you go.
for the cramping and basketball.
So the thing that they're most known for, their most famous product is called PC, which stands for phospholipid complex. I nail it now, phospholipid complex. What it does is, very simply, your cells are the things that like decide whether the good things get in or the bad things get in. So you want it to keep the good things out and keep the bad things out and let the good things in. But the more toxins that are in the atmosphere, like microplastics and pesticides and mold and all that kind of stuff, it hurts the cells and makes it harder for the cells to keep the bad stuff out and let the good stuff in. And as you get older or you get sick, they get worse at doing those things. And I'm old, right? And maybe you're sick, maybe you're even old. And that is where phospholipid complex comes in, because it keeps your cells strong and healthy so they can protect you from the bad things and let in the good things. And Bodybio makes PC, and they're famous for it, and you should try it. Along with all the other products we've talked about, sodium butyrate, Elite, Fish Oil Plus, all that stuff. Go to bodybio.com, use code Norman for 20% off any order. Norman for 20% off any order. That is bodybio.com, bodybio.com. All right. We got this email from John, which writes rickysanchez.com. Mm-hmm. Morning, Spike and Mike, longtime listener, first-time emailer. I've had season tickets for this godforsaken franchise for about 8 years, and my buddies and I were debating the below. Figured it was good timing off your number 2 overall pick for Maxi debate on today's pod. If we landed the number 1 overall pick and Giannis asked out of Milwaukee, would you trade number 1 and Paul George for Giannis? I can't imagine the Bucks getting a better offer than Cooper Flag, even if it's 4 or 5 first-round picks, et cetera, et cetera.
Very interesting.
Yes.
I think even that depends on like a cost-controlled Cooper Flag for 9 years versus Giannis at his age.
Yep.
At his contract number. I think it's unlikely that Cooper Flag becomes as good as Giannis has become.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Giannis, best player in the NBA, debatably, definitely top 3 for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think as far as like what your timeline is, if you believe if Joel is like super healthy and you think now is the time to go, we think he's there, then maybe you go for it. Good problem to have. Get number 1. I probably would be like the 9 years of Cooper Flag at cost controlled, because he can help now and later. I think I'd probably lean holding on to Flag.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the ball, I mean, you also get off of Paul George, which is relatively nice, but having the balls to go all in also
Phil's
nice.
win. Phil's win. Alvarado.
Phil's win.
Phil's win.
Struck him out.
Phil's win.
Jose.
Fucking boom. 0 for fucking 5, 3 strikeouts. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
I love when the Phillies hysterics and anxiety starts like so early. It's
Yes.
when they've lost 2 games.
Well, dude, I got to do not anxiety. I've been very positive on the show. I actually think people are underestimating them, but Bohm, I've been done with for a while.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to watch too many Phils games yet.
Oh my God, dude, every out, it's a fucking throw the helmet. Like fucking every time.
He cares a lot.
He cares about himself. He was crying in the dugout last year when they were winning. Give me a fucking break. He's crying.
I'm very excited for the Aiden Miller era to begin.
Yeah, he's pretty. Dude, we saw him at when I was at training camp. Was like across the field from him. Guy's enormous. Oh, did you thinking about Aiden Miller? I'm thinking about I'm sorry, Painter. Painter's fucking.
Oh yeah, he's very
6'7". He's a monster. Yeah. Aiden Miller. Yeah, Aiden Miller. Hopefully,
I think about and I say it. It's just I've really shortened it to just saying I almost said it just now. But there's a Terry Rozier tweet. Do you remember this? A Terry Rozier tweet from like I don't know 12 years ago or something, where he said Osama should have hooped instead of killing all those people. He's tall as hell. Yeah. And anytime anyone says anybody's tall, my first reaction is just Osama should have hooped. It just comes out right away. So I'm so close to it. Wow, CJ had it. Osama should have hooped instead of trying to kill people because he's tall as hell. You're right.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
May 1st, 2011. Great tweet. Iconic tweet.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Painter's nasty. He's gonna be good for so long. But I love Aiden Miller. I love the prospects. I'm thinking about, Otto Kemp looking good at AAA Lehigh Valley. I like Arun Escobar down in Clearwater. He's looking good. Carson DiMartini, which is a fun name to say. When we have high A Jersey Shore.
When we have Fritz on, you guys can nerd out. He's like Mr. fucking prospect.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
We talked to whatever. No more baseball. And
baseball.
Justin Crawford's hitting fucking 320 in AAA.
Yeah, he's got to lift the ball a little bit. He's been lifting a little bit more. He's working on it. Interesting player. Interesting prospect.
We got this couple of good voicemails.
What was your thought about the Giannis Cooper flag thing?
I would not. And here's why I wouldn't. Because you trade for Giannis, but then you still have fucking $65 million in Embiid sitting there.
But the fact is that Giannis can carry a team by himself in a way that no one else on the Sixers can.
Yes, but it's almost impossible to build a team with $65 million just fucking sitting on the bench half the year.
Right. The question would be, do you think Embiid can play a little?
To be honest with you, I would be more likely to include Embiid in that trade than I would Paul George. How about that? I think it gives the Sixers a better chance to win the title if the Bucks take Joel Embiid than they do take Paul George. Because I could foresee a world.
But there's no way you trade one and Embiid for Giannis.
I would be more likely to do that than trading one and Paul George for Giannis. Because I'm more interested in getting off the Embiid contract than I am getting off the Paul George contract.
That's so sad.
But I wouldn't. Let's put it this way: I don't think I would do either of them. I would just take flag.
One and Embiid for Giannis is despicable. That makes me want to turn all my lights off and lie face down.
But it's not crazy, even though it's despicable.
Yeah, I mean that really is
it's reality. Yeah. I know you're not into the voicemails, but I think you'll like both of these. 833 Lickface.
Hey guys, Craig from Lancaster here. I had a thought as you were talking about the lottery party and Yabusele coming, how much he seems he genuinely loves Philly, all of those things. And I was wondering, we want him to re-sign. We're not sure if we're going to be able to get him, all these things. Do you realize that he could come to the lottery party, be so taken aback like others have at how much he's loved, that he decides to sign with us instead of somewhere else, and the lottery party is what put him over the edge? Someone could offer him a little bit more money. I don't know. We're pretty cool. Maybe a lot more money. And he decides to stay with us. Obviously, we all understand there's plenty of times that the podcast has impacted the timeline of the Sixers. But, we have a chance here really to make this guy want to re-sign with us because of this moment. And I think that would be, it would be hilarious. I just hope that if that happens, that he mentions it in the presser. It would be an ultimate say the name moment. I'm
You won't-
signing with Philly because of rights to Ricky Sanchez.
What do you think? Convincing Yabusele to stay for slightly less money because the crowd is so good.
It is a secondary storyline, an interesting storyline to the lottery party, but a nice secondary one.
Yep.
I think him going to the Eagles game and feeling like that was very fun.
Yep.
I do think it is possible that this factors in. He's 29 years old.
Yeah.
This is going to be his contract. Like, this is like his probably biggest contract that he will ever sign. And so I do think he's probably going to get as much money as he could. But what is the number that he would give up to be in Philadelphia? Is it like $500,000?
And can we increase that number by showing him
Yeah.
like so much love on May 12th?
Yeah, I think that's worth talking about. And I think how we, well, I'll speak for myself, how I, and then how the fans, listeners at the show, treat Yabusele will vary wildly based on what happens at the lottery.
Oh, yeah.
This could end with Gershon Yabusele making me feel better, like trying to cheer me up.
Well, no, I think our response. No, remember the last time we were worried about something like this? It was
different time.
Covington.
Way different time. No one's going to boo Gershon. I just think if we drop to 7, the crowd grumbling and general dismay and displeasure at how things have gone, to have endured all of this and to have gotten nothing out of it, might make us in general less excited about showing Yabusele a great time and begging him to stay in Philadelphia. We might be like, just get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah.
You don't want to be here.
Yabu Staley.
Save yourself.
That's what we have to channel him.
Yabu Staley. That's interesting.
Stay.
Yabu Staley.
Yeah.
There's something there for sure.
It's close.
I would definitely I will throw contract numbers at him and be like, can we get you to agree with that?
Well, remember, we called Paul George's contract. I think I said $8 million a year, and he agreed, and that's what not Paul George, Paul Reed, I'm sorry, B-Ball Paul. We called B-Ball Paul's contract at the
B-Ball Paul, man.
Yep. This email came from James. I think it's very important. James, I hope you're listening to this right now. To RiceRickySanchez@gmail.com. Hey, Spike, Mike, CJ, and Daryl. I'm running the Jersey City Marathon this coming Sunday and will be using your podcast to kill a third of my race. In addition to the Stop Making Sense live album from the Talking Heads and some Grateful Dead. Would love to hear your take on a couple questions. And if you read this, I would love for it to be on the weekly pod, as your Sunday podcast will be after my race. Basketball question. At what number shot clock would you expect scoring to be highest in the NBA? A low shot clock means more shots and less efficient. A high shot clock means less shots and more efficient. I think that the error in your question here is I don't think giving people more time will make them more efficient by that much in the NBA. Do you? I think 24 seconds is perfect. I don't think giving teams 5 more seconds will make them more efficient. I do think giving them less time will make them less efficient, but I don't think giving them more time will make them more efficient.
No, I agree. I think 24 is good. I think the 14-second reset, I think, is a little low. I would move that to 16.
I think that's right.
College, it's the 30-second shot clock with a 20-second reset. And so I would it should 2/3.
Yeah,
feels
I think
like
that's
the right
fair.
level. 14 feels a little light for those offensive rebounds. But yeah, I think it's good. I think this is not one of the issues that I feel strongly about.
And then non-basketball question. I love going to, actually, before we get to non-basketball question, did you, who was it? Was it Tom Haberstroh that wrote the get rid of the corner three, or is it John Hollinger?
Isn't it, what's his name? Oh, this is good listening. It's what's his name? It's he was on The Ringer. He's fucking the guy. He's got like a jolly little name. CJ? Chat? End of season, we're tanking. This podcast is tanking.
Hold
as
on.
we say it.
I gotta
It's
find
what's
it.
his name? It's fucking. I want to say Ken Palm, but that is obviously not it.
Kirk
It's not.
Goldsberry.
Kirk Goldsberry.
It was
That is a
Kirk-
jolly little name.
It was
I
Kirk
right.
Goldsberry. Yeah.
Kirk Goldsberry. Yeah.
So I think the people that I think there are too many threes, but I think the people that think that is the big issue with the NBA are like not seeing the forest for the trees. It was like 30 years ago when people would complain about they carry the ball too much. It wasn't that they carried the ball too much. That was like a red herring for what they actually didn't like.
Right.
So what they actually didn't like is like the players don't seem like they give a fuck. Like,
Right now.
yes, the whole NBA regular season seems like nobody cares, and they're picking out little things in the game because they can't quite vocalize what they actually think the issue is. That said, I heard a solution way better than getting rid of the corner three, and they'll never do it. If for a dumb reason, it's just like it's like a records reason. But Freddie DeBoer said, and this is right, if you just make threes 4 and make twos 3s,
Right.
it will fix the problem.
It could.
Because the
idea
big
that-
problem is that 3s are 50% more than 2. It's
Yeah.
too much, you know? And the corner 3 is weird that it's shorter. Like if you shoot that distance a shot straight away, it's not a
Right.
3.
There's no reason why the corner three should be less,
Right. You could
Distance.
widen the court, but that's a problem with all the arenas.
but do it.
You
They
think
should do
that's the answer? I don't think
Well, I
getting
think it's
rid of the
one.
corner-
I don't think it's the
Yeah.
answer. I don't think there's
Yeah.
the answer. I think
The 4-3 thing would work.
I think refereeing should allow more defense and stop like calling fouls on, grifting bullshit.
Yeah.
Including Joel's. Like, I think we can just be adults and see
Mm-hmm.
when someone is trying just to draw the foul and when someone is trying to like actually shoot and is getting fouled.
Yep.
I think that they should move the corner three back a little bit to be regular. I think they should maybe move the 3-point line back entirely. They haven't moved it back in many years, and it would be good to just move that a little bit. I think they should widen the paint, shrink the paint.
Yep.
They should shrink the paint so that, which they widened in like out of a response to Shaq just being dominant, and you're not seeing that anymore. So if you shrink the paint, then guys can be closer to the basket for longer without getting called for offensive 3 seconds and stuff. And the frustrating thing about threes for me, and I don't get, it doesn't bother me like it bothers some people, but the frustrating thing about NBA basketball generally is how similar everything looks across the board.
It's just driving, kick, and driving, kick, and driving, kick, and
Right.
driving.
And that's why college, the last few months that I've been watching just like almost exclusively college basketball has been so exciting and refreshing because it's just every coach really, there's so many different coaches that have different, every conference has different styles. And you're like, okay, this is, there are some, obviously Alabama plays with a ton of pace and space. They play with a ton of driving kick. They have a ton of guys that can shoot. They get up a ton of threes. Texas women's basketball won, I think it was an Elite 8 game while taking 3 threes. They were 2 of 3 from 3.
Wow.
University of Texas won the game. And it's just like, obviously they should get up more threes. I mean, I'm a fan of USC because Alyssa went to SC and they didn't take nearly enough. I was texting Kate Scott, who's friends with the head coach of USC, Lindsay Gottlieb, and going, why does she not recruit shooters? What does she have against shooting? It's upsetting me. Lindsay, if you're listening, please. Avery Howell already transferred to UW. Please recruit shooters. It's very frustrating that she plays too many non-shooters at once. But when there's just a mix, when it's just different styles, it's good to see. It's cool to see different styles at once. And I think the lack of variety in the way that a lot of NBA teams are play basketball. Obviously, like Denver is different because of Jokic. The Warriors are different because of Steph. There's a handful of teams that play. Houston has their own thing. It's just interesting to see when games look differently. And to your point, like when players give a shit and there's too much, like they're incentivized to like not really care that much.
Right.
And so there's not everything would be solved by those things, but I do think allowing defense a little bit more. They're not going to shrink the season.
No. I don't care how many times people say it. It's not going to happen.
They're not going to shrink the season, and they're not going to shrink. I don't think like having the games be 40 minutes long instead of 48 would do anything either.
Well, the other thing is, again, it's not one thing. I think the one big thing we talked about is the big thing. The other things that I think that make watching NBA games difficult is the last 2 minutes of a game taking fucking 45 minutes.
That's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe the Elam ending, like strongly, a target score would solve so many issues. Just like the length of games.
Yeah.
Like there being a close game and you have to go to the monitor and review. I think all reviews should be handled remotely. I never want to see fucking anybody go into a monitor and having to like wait for it to be set up and turn it around, and like the refs are talking and then they're looking again and they're talking again. Like just let somebody handle it. You don't have to handle it. What if there's a glare in the arena? Like just stop doing that. It should all be handled from like Secaucus or whatever. And yeah, there should be a target score. I think at the end of say it's with 3 minutes left in the game, you just add 12 points to whoever has the most points at the time and say that is the target score. So if it's 100 to 99 with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the target score then locks and becomes 112. So it's the first team to 112 at that time.
Yep.
And it's just like, that's how pickup basketball has been played forever. That's how we all play basketball.
Yeah, it's not that foreign to people.
It's really not that foreign, and I think people hear words like Elam ending and target score and get a little scared. But like, you just say, all right, game to. Once that point, it just says, here's what the game is to. First one there wins, and then you get a fucking buzzer beater every night. There's a game-winning shot every night, and
stop calling it the Elam ending.
I'm fine with that. We can call it a better one. Target score. Do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the last 20 minutes of how baseball and football are now so intent on trying to go, how can we suck out the air, too much dead air, and how can we like make it the most enjoyable viewing experience? It does seem like the NBA is like, how can we make it the longest possible game? Let's do like flagrant reviews for 6 minutes. Like, it's insane.
And the other one for me, just from a viewing perspective, is anybody who complains about a call gets a fucking tech immediately. Like the whining about every single fucking ref call. It's every call, even the ones that are obviously correct. It's like insufferable.
It's a lot of that, but I do think speeding the game up would help push past that quicker. You know,
maybe, yeah.
I also think the NBA should adopt 1-on-1. So there's the bonus and then the double bonus in college, and I don't think I'm willing to listen to 1 for 2. So like if you go to the line, you shoot, instead of shooting 2 shots, you shoot 1 shot, and if you make it, that's 2 points.
Oh wow.
That's what like a lot of rec leagues play that way. I've played in rec leagues that have done that.
Really?
I don't love it necessarily, but I do think that instituting a 1-on-1 the way college does, so it's like, you know, after 5 fouls, then from like 5 to 9 are 1-on-1s, and then this is college, but I finding some number that's like, okay, you're 1-on-1 for like 4 fouls, and then it's the double bonus after that. Just keep it moving. You miss the first shot, you don't get the other one. It's more fun. It's more engaging. It takes less time.
And then finally, you had lunch with my college roommate Nick, and you didn't even tell me.
I did. I did.
I talk to Nick like once a year or whatever, and Nick Bernstein, my college roommate, is still SVP of CBS Late Night. I think that's still his role. But he was also part of the Conan Late Night era at NBC.
He's a late night exec and late night producer. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he produced the Pete Holmes show for a while, and then James Corden. But he texted me. He was like, "Hey, I had lunch with their podcast partner Mike," and I was like, "I talked to Mike on a podcast for an hour the other day, and he didn't mention it."
True. Forgot. Nice guy.
Nick is a very nice guy.
He also plays basketball occasionally in the adjoining gym to where I play ball. Most people I know.
Nick's signature move in college was being non-committal about any plan because he would always find something better to do.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic. Nice guy.
He is a nice guy. All right. Well, we will be with you after the finale of the season on Sunday. Sixers, Bulls. We made it through another year.
We survived.
The 12th Ricky season in the books. Yeah. So we will talk to
Lottery
you
in a
then.
month and 3 days.
Yep. Wait, what? A lottery in a month. God damn.
Gotta rig it.
Happy. Must rig it.
Gotta win that.
All right. We will talk to you Sunday. You down with TTP?
Yeah. You. No. Lick face.